Hey, what's going on, everybody? Derek Nelson here, owner and founder of the Polaris Financial Network and author of the book, The Financial Foundation System. What I want to talk about today is the national debt, the printing of money, and all things that are happening now at what I consider an alarming rate. The U.S. national debt has topped $26 trillion. To put that into perspective, just a few months back, back in February of 2020, the published national debt was $23.4 trillion. What happened? Well, the COVID pandemic happened, and that, with stimulus money and printing, we are just going deeper and deeper and deeper into the hole. Okay, let me put trillions. I can't even count that high. But let's put this into perspective. If we rewound the tape 2 decades back to the year 2000, the published national debt was $5 trillion. Then we go to 2008. Now, granted, this is when the the Great Recession recurred, which now our debt had reached in 2008 $9.9 trillion. And this is a decades of quantitative easing, or the printing of money, or creating money out of thin air. When we go to 2012, the published national debt is $15.3 trillion. Here's the catch, though. In 2024, they are projecting our national debt to top $45 trillion. I mean, who even counts that high? And then in 2028, north of $79 trillion. And there's a few reasons why, and I'll get into that real quick. What is the national debt? What is it? It's debt that's held by the public. Okay, it's bonds. Bonds are debt instruments. So in other words, if I went out and I purchased a bond, I'm basically loaning that company or government, in this case, money, and they're going to pay me back over a period of time. They're going to pay me an interest rate. Okay, so I am lending them money, and they're going to pay me interest. That pays better than the bank. And do your homework to decide which is risky and which isn't, because bond prices do fluctuate. So buyers of the bonds could include somebody like ourselves, citizens, international investors, and foreign governments. How often have we heard China holds our debt? China holds our debt. This is what they're talking about. China is buying bonds issued by the United States government, and we are paying them interest. So that's what that means when we talk about China has our debt. Also included in the numbers are other items like pensions and Social Security. Okay, there are really two main ways that we could reduce this national debt. That would be either cutting spending or raising taxes, or a combination of both. The problem with cutting spending is it could actually slow economic growth. And no politician, no president, no elected official wants to slow down the economy. They could cut in certain areas, but the government, they magically will figure out a way to spend it elsewhere. So cutting spending has not really been on the table. They have cut certain programs, but then they've redirected those funds somewhere else. And the other option is to raise taxes. We've heard politicians talk about raising taxes. Guess what? We're at historic lows right now when it comes to taxes. But if they raise taxes, that could also slow economic growth, because if we pay more in income taxes, then we have less money to spend, and that could slow the economy as well. Which leads me to this. If taxes are raised too much, that is political suicide, and that is the reason that the national debt will never be solved. So how do they combat it? What is going to happen in the future? Okay, so let me give you the largest budget items that we have. We have Medicare and Social Security. Between the two of those budget items, we're looking at about $3 trillion. They are expected to run out. Social Security, they say, will be, it's not going to be running out of money until 2035. Medicare, on the other hand, is by 2026, 2027, they could conceivably go bankrupt. What is this going to mean? This is going to mean for all of us, it's going to mean higher taxes and lower benefits. It's really the only ways that they can combat this and ensure that the people get paid. So over time, you're going to be looking at higher taxes and lower benefits. So by the time that we get to Medicare, our age, I'm 45, I may qualify for Medicare rather than age 65, might be age 68. So those will get bumped up, and then the benefits we receive will be lower. So the question is, what do we do about it? How do we prevent our future money from being taxed at higher rates? What is the possibility? Most of us have money in retirement accounts, an IRA or a 401k. They will tax that money at a higher rate down the road. Okay, pensions are at risk. The pensions are in the red. There's a lot going on here that down the road they are going to have to make some tough decisions. I say it's political suicide, but there's not really going to be any choice in the matter. Taxes will go up, and they'll go up in different forms. But income tax is the easiest way to do it. States will have to raise taxes significantly because states cannot print money. So they have to also take on more debt and issue bonds and do that type of thing, and they will raise taxes and lower benefits. So just something to think about. The debt is not going anywhere. It's getting worse. It's going to continue to go up. A little black swan event like the COVID-19 pandemic could easily bump our national debt up several $1 trillion, as we witnessed already. So the question is, where do you put your money where the government doesn't know? And the answer to that is cash value life insurance. If that's something you want to talk about, you have to make sure it's properly structured. I'm happy to help. Let's put your money somewhere safe where you have access to it. It's completely tax-free. There's no IRS restrictions. There's no penalties. There's no taxes that are paid on the money, and it's just another vehicle. Wouldn't it make sense if maybe you don't put all your hard-earned money into an insurance vehicle like this, but to at least put a portion of it to diversify your tax liability down the road? Thank you and have a great day.